right, welcome back to the TCI headquarters. After a bye week, we are back in Death Valley. Night game, all you fans out there, I know y'all are excited about that. I hadn't even looked at the weather. Hopefully the weather will be decent. Obviously be a little bit colder this time of year.
Cooler. I won't say colder.
Cooler. Okay, we'll go with cooler. Hopefully it'll be drier and dry. All that good stuff. But should be a big night. JP was just telling me before offline. We got a bunch of big recruits coming to town for the game Saturday night. So another chance for Clemson and for you fans to do your part to impress these recruits that are coming to check Clemson out this weekend. Big game. This was one, before the season, this was one of the big games we pointed to. Mm-hmm. Obviously, things haven't gone the way Louisville would have liked. Several close losses. So they're not quite the team we thought maybe they would be. Of course, Dad will tell you they're awesome and yada, yada, yada. And all these losses have been close. And great teams and all of that. So, Will, let's start with you. What are you looking at for keys this weekend?
I think the biggest key, I think, is going to be if you go look at Louisville's record, their track record in the 3 games they've lost. They really struggled, and really in 5 of the 8 games this year, the leading rusher for the other team has been the quarterback. And so my key in the game is Cade Klubnik's got to be able to run the football with success. If you look at the 3 losses in particular, they really struggled stopping the run with the running quarterbacks. And, so obviously at Notre Dame with what he does with his legs and all. And so Cade, of course, has come into his own as a runner. We've seen it all year long where he's made big plays with his feet. And I think in this game, and if you remember Dabo talking on Tuesday, Dabo brought up Cade and how important his running game how it's added to the offense and really helped the offense go. And then he talked about how they're going to need it in this game. And I think because Dabo's talking exactly about what I'm talking about, like this is where Louisville's weak link in their chain is in their defense. They got several.
I was going to say
they got several on their defense. But this is when it comes to the run stop and the run, they've done a good job stopping the other team's best running back. And so it's been up to the quarterbacks to kind of get those rushing yards to keep that defense honest. And so I think that's the key. Cade Klubnik, I'm going to say he's got to have at least 50 yards rushing in this game.
That helped his Heisman race, right?
Absolutely.
He's mentioned in, top 4, top 5, and most of the Heisman things you see out there.
Yeah, he's top 4
now,
most of the ones I see, yeah.
Which is awesome. So another chance for him to impress. All right, JP, what are you looking at this weekend?
I'm with Will. I think Clemson's got to run the ball. That's a high-powered Louisville offense. You get that running game going. You keep that offense off the field, limit their possessions. My offense had at least 15 carries in the last 3 games. I expect him to have at least that many this game, maybe even more. To me, that's the key. Get the running game going. It'll open up some things in the passing game. And we've all seen how explosive that passing game's been since that loss to Georgia in the season opener.
Well, and hopefully this weekend we get back the most explosive of the receivers, or
the one who can stretch it.
Yeah, the one that can do some things.
The guy that's got multiple 70-yard receptions.
The one that's averaging 23 yards a catch.
Yes.
I mean, that passing game was different when he was out there early in the season, without a doubt.
And in case they don't know who we're talking about Bryant Westco.
That would be number 12.
TJ Moore is great too. Don't get me wrong. But
Williams is playing awesome. He's on his way to the
Williams
NFL
is playing
with the season
great.
he's having, but that just a little bit different team when you got that guy like you said that can just stretch the heck out of that field. And he wasn't just stretching the field and having a guy on him. He was wide open.
He's wide open.
So he's running the routes and doing the right things to use that speed and make some of the
and
DBs
give Garrett Riley credit. Like he's not only wide open, but he's putting him in positions where he gets wide open. In other words, he's not in where he's having to play press man and try to get off the line. He's like in the actual slot position. He's matched up against a linebacker or safety. I mean, it's been great matchups. If you go back and watch how he's used him in matchup situations to get him open, because he is creative in getting open. And I think they need to
kind of goes
get the
back
vertical
to your
game.
key, Will. That key may be easier this week. You guys focused on the running game and all that, but Louisville can't just focus on the running game with number 12 out there.
Yeah, and Louisville's,
if they do, it's going to be.
And their pass defense is where they're really accepted. I mean, that's the worst part of their defense is their secondary. So they're going to try to bring pressure to try to confuse Cade, stuff like that, because they're trying to mask those issues on the back end. And you can see several explosive plays. I mean, go watch the Miami game. Miami wide receivers were running so open, I could have scored touchdowns with my blazing speed. And everybody here knows I don't have any blazing speed.
Anybody that wants to check that, just go to YouTube and look for this race that Will had a couple years ago with Matt. And I think you'll disagree with the statement he just made.
Well, no, I was saying it was sarcasm. I was like, I could even.
I don't know about that.
I'm like slow as could be, and I could have scored on those. I mean, that's how wide open they were. They were just so wide open. So. You got a feeling Clemson's
not getting wide open.
Yeah, I don't know. I got SEC speed. But I just think Wesco, if he's playing, he could really. Clemson hasn't really had the big vertical plays. They haven't really had the big vertical explosive play, right? Am I right? I mean, they've done it. They've thrown the ball deep, but you haven't seen that kind of vertical explosiveness.
We're going to see number 12 out there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
very, very confident in that.
I think he probably could have played against Virginia if they really needed him.
I think we're going to see him out. All right, I'm going to flip the side of the ball on you guys.
You're going to go defense, huh?
I'm going defense. I think this is going to be a big challenge. I think the defense is going to be fired up for this because they're going to be like, okay, everybody's talking about this great offense coming to town.
Mm-hmm.
They're coming to Death Valley. Oh, by the way, fans, you guys can have a big impact. The crowd noise always gets the defense fired up when the crowd's louder at home. And this will be a game where, and hopefully I'm wrong here, but these defensive starters, they may actually be able to play in the fourth quarter.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the games this year, they've been coming out early, and we've been playing the second team and third team and building the depth. And there's a whole different set of discussions around that. But I think the defense is going to come out to make a statement. And if they can come out and make a statement and if they hold Louisville to, 2 touchdowns or less, we're talking another blowout. Because Louisville's not going to hold Clemson's offense to 2 touchdowns or less. The question is, does Clemson go over under 35 or not? And that's probably what we're going to be discussing when we post some score predictions out here. So if Clemson defense can come out and play well, Tigers are going to be in good shape. They can run, they can throw, they can do whatever they want on offense. They should be in good shape. And the other one is, this is a game, and we haven't seen this from Clemson. And Dabo talked about this too. So just take care of the ball.
Yep.
Take care of the ball. Don't give Louisville and their offense a lot of easy possessions where they're starting on your side of the field. And, this is a game Clemson should win. Clemson is the better team. The defense plays well and holds Louisville down, and we should be another fun night in Death Valley.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned the crowd, because I think the crowd is going to be key on this. If you remember games past, now it's a different coaching staff, obviously, but Louisville seems to always struggle with the noise their offensive lines do in Death Valley. If you go back and think of all the games, they get like 3 or 4 illegal procedure penalties on them, and that's direct reflection of the crowd, and they've been some great crowds during this time. I mean, if you remember the Lamar Jackson game, I think they had 5 illegal procedure penalties in that game.
Get the end of that game.
And remember at the end when they got down there, they got called offside.
They got too damn close.
They got close, but remember before that, on first down or second down, they got an illegal procedure penalty, and that backed them up 5 yards. That turned out to be huge because the guy didn't get the first down. And so, that's the kind of things I'm talking about. Like, it's just, the crowd can play a big role in it. And I think this week that can be the case for Clemson. And I'm interested to see how Jeff Brom thinks about the crowd at Death Valley, because this is his first trip to Clemson. He coached in the Big Ten with Purdue, but he would go to the Big House or he'd go to Ohio State and he'd bring in his Purdue teams. And let's just be honest, it's not like Ohio State and Michigan are getting excited about Purdue coming into town. So he's bringing in a Louisville team in a big game, and Clemson fans, I think, are going to bring it.
Clemson fans, you got Saturday night, then you got the Citadel. I don't think fans are going to be super excited about that one. Then you got the Chickens, and of course everybody will be really excited about it. So it's, not a whole lot of home season left. So have fun, help the team like Will's talking about. This team's doing special things, and fans can play a big factor. All right, now we're going to go on the record with some score predictions. It's a lot more fun doing these this year than it has been the last 3 years. My body was just in this mode where I would go with these high scores for years and years.
Then all of a sudden you had to go 20.
Great quarterbacks, and then it just took me 3 years to get that out of my system, but now we're back. So, all right, Will, give us your score prediction for Saturday night.
Yeah, I think Clemson's defense will play, like you mentioned earlier, this is a pretty good Louisville offense, and they're going to get theirs. And I think, Clemson's defensive players, starters, are going to make plays as well, because I think Clemson's got the overall better defense. But I still think it's going to be a high-scoring game, and I think first team to 30 wins in this game. I'm going to go Clemson 38, Louisville 27 in this game. So, yeah.
You're throwing trash at Clemson's defense.
I'm not throwing trash at Clemson's defense. It's more respect toward Louisville's offense. They're just so good, and nobody's been able to stop them.
Will Vandervoort.
Go ahead and cue him up and send him a name, too.
I mean,
Are you going there too?
I would love to be wrong, right? JP, we'd love to be wrong.
I think that Louisville offense is really good. And like you said, I think they're going to get theirs. At least they're going to get on a couple plays.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm with the first 1 to 30 wins.
All right, what was your score? You
38-27? 38-27, yeah.
27.
Clemson has not lost in Death Valley in a night game since 2014.
2013.
I thought it was 14.
Florida State.
Was it 13?
Yeah,
the
the Jameis Winston game.
13.
Why you got to bring that up?
Well, just because I'm bringing up which one it was.
Let's just say more than a decade. I don't see that changing this week. 34-24.
34-24.
There you go.
Whew. Well, y'all out there are going to be glad to know that neither one of these guys are accurate. All right? Y'all didn't listen to what I said about the defense, the crowd, the fans.
I think holding to 27 points is good defense.
I will say
24 is even better.
I'll be glad to say Louisville is overrated.
They're averaging 40-something points a game.
They're getting too much hype.
Okay.
All right?
All
Too
right.
much hype. Too much love.
Prove us wrong. What
I'm
you
proving
got?
you wrong. Well, I can't prove squat. So, guys listening out there, Peter Woods, you guys need to back me up here. I don't think Clemson's going to give up a ton on defense because, like I said, I think we're going to see the first team play for 4 quarters, which we haven't seen much this year. I'm going to give Louisville 17, a little bit lower than you, and I'm going to give Clemson 42. So
a little bit more than me.
For a blowout.
So you're going 25-point victory.
Blowout.
I think everybody in stadium will be happy if that's the case, except for the Louisville fans.
They need to keep putting their foot in. What is it? What's today?
Today is November 1st.
Okay, so what do we do about November?
It's championship phase.
Championship phase. They remember.
They remember November.
So Dabo,
and you got the playoff rankings coming out.
Dabo does all that
Tuesday.
stuff. He gets all that, and we've talked offline about how important the first playoff ranking is.
Going to tell us what we need to know.
It's very important because it's hard to move over teams.
Mm-hmm.
If you start out ahead of teams, then they have to justify, okay, why did they move this team over that team?
Correct.
So this Sunday, hallelujah, we'll be able to start.
Of course, if
what
you're
all
Clemson,
these talking heads say.
If you're Clemson, win out, get to 11-1, go to the ACC championship game, beat Miami, and you're in the top 4 anyway at that point, and you're getting.
But you'd rather be 2 than 3, and 3 than 4, and
well, you'd rather just be 3. I think you're fine if you don't want to be 4, because 4 is going to play 5, and 5, as we know, sitting here is going to be an SEC team. And
I'm scared of the SEC. What are you scared of the SEC team
I'm
for?
just saying, I'm not scared of them. I'd just rather not see one.
Which SEC team are you scared of?
Georgia.
Okay, what if Georgia wins the SEC? I'm not scared of Georgia.
Well, Georgia, I am, because if Georgia plays like Georgia, when they can just be Georgia, like second half against Clemson, like most of the game against Texas, that Georgia's the best team in the country. There's no doubt.
That quarterback.
It wasn't so much what Clemson did in that third quarter as much as what Georgia did to Clemson.
That quarterback's having a little bit of a roller coaster season.
Yeah, I agree. That's why I said, though, if Georgia is Georgia, though, and Georgia hadn't played a complete game either. We say Clemson hadn't played a complete game.
Did you watch Georgia play Kentucky?
Yeah, that's my point. Georgia hasn't played. Well, remember Clemson.
Do you know how bad Kentucky is?
But remember, Clemson almost lost to Syracuse in the 2018 season.
This isn't 2018.
Yeah, I mean, my point being is everybody, Clemson lost to Pittsburgh in 2016.
This isn't 2016.
So my
history got nothing to do with nothing.
No, I'm just using. Everybody has off weeks, and so when a team,
game 1,
when Clemson put it together in those 2 seasons, what did they do? They beat the crap out of everybody because they were the best team in college football. If Georgia puts it all together, there ain't nobody better than Georgia.
I don't think their quarterback's what everybody thought he was coming into the season.
Yeah,
and
I don't disagree.
If you look at all the NFL
their overall
analysts
roster is
coming into the season, they all said, "This is the guy. This is the quarterback. This is going to be the first quarterback taken." That's gone.
Well, you didn't have to worry about Georgia anyway. They're going to win the SEC,
gone.
And Georgia's going to be
all
the
right.
one.
Who else scares you in the SEC?
That'll be it for the most part in the SEC.
Then what are you worried about?
Yeah. I just hate because you hate playing the SEC.
SEC, bring them on.
Play the Big Ten. That's what I like to play.
You hear what he's saying over here? Oh, these smokes.
Go ahead and get used to playing some
Come
of those
on.
Big Ten teams. What you're saying?
Bring them on.
What are you implying?
And well, that's what I'm trying to say is Clemson's back to having an elite offense.
Yeah.
They have I'll call it a championship defense. Not as good as they've had.
Yeah.
But they've got both pieces.
They do.
And there's no
They're
team.
top 50 in
if
both.
Georgia's playing their absolute perfect game, sure, they're tough to beat. We saw what Clemson did with them in the first half, and I know that was the first half. But I don't think there's a team this year that you feel like there's no way Clemson can beat that team.
I agree with that now.
Yeah,
There isn't. I agree with
Yeah,
that.
after
I
week
don't think
one.
anybody's really separated.
Yeah,
themselves.
after week
Yeah.
one, I think we would have all said, well, this team's not, there's a whole lot of teams they can't
Yeah.
I also don't think Clemson's defense has played its best game yet.
Clemson overall hasn't played their best game
Well,
as a team.
That's why I'm excited this week because they're going to have to play the starters. They're not going to be rotating this, that, and the other. Feel like we've got everybody pretty healthy
I was about to say the same thing. Everybody
based on what we know going into this
Yeah,
game.
Dabo always likes to give us a surprise on
we're back
Saturdays,
here.
though. He always makes us me and JP
yeah.
work a lot there. It's like, doggone, Dabo, can't we just have one week where the
I'll
list
be
is
calling
empty?
you from the field saying, hey, this guy ain't dressed out, Will. Can you get that up? What the heck's going on here?
I hate when I get that injury list because it's like never is what you expect. It's like every time you're like, where did this guy come
There's
from?
at least one name on there that you weren't expecting.
That you weren't expecting. Every week it happens. It happens. Anyway, it is what it is.
It happens.
Yeah. I wish they do like the SEC does, and you have to do the
I wish they do that too. Have the injury report.
injury report. That they have to. They force the coaches to do an injury
Loves
report.
the SEC.
No, I'm just that's a great thing for us, right? If we had an injury report on Thursday and Wednesday and Thursday, we could do one. That'd be good for our website.
I do. I like it just the way it is.
Okay.
And why do I like it the way it is?
I got a feeling you're gonna tell me.
Well, the reason I like it the way it is because we can find some stuff out and put it out there for the whole world.
Oh, that's a good point.
Once the report comes out, it's really not. It's public information. It doesn't do us any good.
That's a good point too.
Yeah, it's a very good point.
Like
That's a
to
good
hold
point.
it to the last minute. I just need these guys to type a little bit faster when I'm feeding them something at 10:15, and that availability is coming out from Ross at 10:30.
It's like you and Ross are on the same wavelength.
Out and
It's like you and Ross are on the same wavelength. It's like,
Quick.
okay, you send it to us, and it's like,
quick.
there comes Ross. I'm like, gosh,
Well, you
darn
gotta
it,
get out
Ross.
for it, Ross.
Can't even beat it by a minute.
That's the
Yeah.
game. All right, guys. As you can tell, we're pretty excited about this game this weekend.
It's football, man. Let's do it.
We're also excited because we're going to be able to sit in here and watch some good football at noon tomorrow. Watch the whole game. We get to watch the whole new games before we head over to the stadium.
Yeah, new,
Very
yeah.
often
That's
anymore.
that's
that
that's
doesn't-
very exciting.
That doesn't happen very often.
And
anymore.
we're in the conversation as opposed to the last 3 years, where we care what happens to Penn State and we care what happens to all these other
Oh,
teams.
yeah, the Ohio State
right?
Penn State game's huge
That all
tomorrow.
matters.
Yeah.
That all matters.
SMU game, Pitt.
Yep, SMU Pitt, which is
By the
same
way,
time
real fast,
as we are.
you want to? I think tomorrow you want to be a big Pitt fan tomorrow because Clemson plays Pitt, so they can take care of business by themselves with Pitt. But you would love to see Pitt give SMU that loss.
Absolutely.
And you'd be a huge Duke fan tomorrow. Hope
Noon
Manny
game?
Diaz goes down there and gets his revenge
Not
in front
gonna
of
happen,
tens
but
and tens of
wish it
people.
would.
And and then there's one more game I was.
Tens and
You got that? There's just one more game I
Hard
was
to
thinking
come
of.
back from the way they lost last week.
What game was it? There's one more game that you need to be a fan of if you're Clemson to watch.
I can tell you one, Texas A&M.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, yeah. Well, that's kind of that.
Don't go there. No, don't go there.
Well, if the Chickens were to beat them,
No, no.
then
Don't
Clemson
care.
jumps them automatically in
Don't
the rankings, and
Don't
there's
care.
no SEC team because South Carolina's
Don't
not going to
care.
jump them jump all the way up.
Don't care.
All the SEC
I'm with
teams
you on
have
that
one
part, Robert. I don't
conference
care
Don't
either.
care.
I'm with you
I'll
on
be
that.
pulling
I get
hard
you.
for those Aggies tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Don't
But
matter.
but that's not that wasn't the game though. There was another game. It's a I'll put a list on the message board. So there's another game that's important for the ACC race that you need to. Oh, Virginia Tech. That's the one. Virginia Tech game. They're playing. Who's Virginia Tech playing this weekend?
And why is that important?
Because if the Hokies lose, you go ahead and give them a second loss, and then you're not worried about them being any tiebreakers if something does go wrong.
They do only have one conference loss right now.
Right. Yeah, they're 3-1. So you'd like for them to have 2 losses before you play them next week. Kind of makes them feel like, the season's kind of already over. We're already out of
I can
it.
see that side of it.
Yeah.
Just go beat them, and you got a 2-game advantage on them.
Go
Anyway.
beat
Right.
them when you hand them the second loss.
Yeah, you do that too. But hey, why not pull
you
for?
got the tiebreaker with
Why
you.
not pull for them to lose? Syracuse, that's where they're at. And by the way, they've lost 13 straight to Syracuse in the Carrier Dome.
And by the way, we don't have any great ACC games on Friday night this week.
Thank goodness.
It's been fun watching some of those games the last few weeks. But all right, guys, we will see you guys in Death Valley Saturday night. Hope you fans have a great tailgate day. Hope everybody enjoys the game, enjoys the 25-point Clemson blowout, and we'll have everything covered for you all weekend long. And don't forget, Monday night, basketball season starts for real, and Will will be there covering that, and Bart will be there covering that, and we'll get another NCAA tournament run started Monday night. So a lot of things to look forward to this weekend. Stay tuned to TCI for the most complete coverage of Clemson athletics, Clemson football, and Clemson recruiting.